everybody. It's Scott Bunce again. And today I have a tremendous opportunity to share a speaker that I just had in my Vistage group. It's Jeff Pedowitz. And Jeff, you're a best-selling author. You focus on AI. And I'm just going to start out by giving you a compliment. You were able to go to each member in my group and actually customize an AI experience based on what you saw on their LinkedIn profile. And I'm just going to start with saying hats off on personalizing it and really opening our eyes on AI. But with that, I want to turn it over to you. Talk about some of your expertise and what you think other leaders in the industry should be focusing on.
Oh, and thank you for having me. And it was a lot of fun working with the team. And just like all these years being in consultancy and doing agency work, it really is about the client and who's in the audience. So I always try and tailor the experiences for the people that I'm speaking with so that it can resonate more. So what my company works on at the highest level is we help sales and marketing organizations drive more revenue using technology and using digital. And so, of course, AI has been around for a long time. It's just gotten everyone's attention over the last couple of years because of ChatGPT. But we've actually been using parts of AI in commercial software for many, many years to help our clients with predictive models and so on. That being said, it's easy to get overwhelmed by all the apps that are launching, and it seems like every other day, Microsoft or OpenAI is coming up with new things that you can or should be doing. And boards ask, what are you doing? How do you get more efficient? Why aren't you using more AI yet? And it's not like us as executives don't have enough to do already. But the simplest way to think about it is think about AI as another tool in your arsenal that can help improve efficiency and productivity. Start there. It can do a lot more than that, but for most companies, we all have inefficient processes. We have manual work. We probably spend more time doing stuff we shouldn't be doing than we should. Or we have more expensive resources doing things that could be better be done by junior resources. So just sitting down, going department by department and saying, okay, what are each process for this department? What are some of the most manual? How much time does these things take? If we were to automate it, or if we were able to apply AI in some way to improve this, what would the business outcome be? Start there. Don't buy any tools. Don't do anything. Just have that conversation. That in and of itself should be very eye-opening for any leadership team to understand where the pain points are. Then, I'm sure everyone in your audience has done a million business planning exercises. Okay. We're gonna compare urgency versus outcome, resources versus time, value to the business. Just come up with a couple of dimensional points. Plot these processes out on a 2x2 matrix. The things that will have the biggest impact, but the least amount of resource effort, do those first. And just pick one or two processes per month or one a month. If you guys are using EOS, which many Vistage members are, of course, tie it into your big rock, and then just give each department, each person, that's the theme. And then you just keep doing it. And then once you get moving, it becomes part of a habit. And 6 or 9 months in, it will just become part of the company culture.
Yeah, and as you saw in my group, I do have several of the members that do EOS, and being able to wrap it into that process is kind of a simple way to keep it top of mind along the way. And I don't know if you remember, but I mentioned in addition to running a Vistage group, I also run a vacation rental management company, and we dipped our toe into AI as it relates to responding to guest feedback. We get hundreds and hundreds of guest feedback, and in a perfect world, I didn't have enough manpower to literally respond to each and every guest response that needs to go out, because we want to respond to the good, to the bad. If somebody has taken the time to do it, we want to make a response. And literally, there's only so many bodies and so much hours in a day, and a lot of our feedback was excellent. We wanted to thank them, invite them back if they had a great stay, and if they had a bad stay, we wanted to get very specific on what are we going to do to improve if we've missed the mark, and then be able to understand what are the reoccurring issues along the way. But you also did something that I really appreciated. You went department by department and gave AI resources by department. So I'm going to say that I took your feedback after your presentation, and you gave multiple sections on finance and accounting and different AI resources to do that. I shared that with my director of accounting, and she looked at it and she came back to me and she said, Scott, are you trying to put me out of a job here? Why did you give me these? And as if everything could, which of course it can't be. And I want her to be more strategic and get rid of the mundane tasks. But it was very helpful what you did by giving and sharing those resources along the way. So wanted to
Oh
give
no,
you.
but look, that's a very common reaction. Technology is a disruptor, and this goes back, right, even to the, our moving from an agricultural economy into manufacturing, all the innovations that have happened along the way. People get worried because the jobs that had been done are now being replaced or changed by machines. So it's a very rational, normal concern that people have. But the sheer reality is while some jobs will get replaced, by AI, so many more are going to be created because of it. And I think as an accounting leader, she has a lot less to worry about than if she was just a billing processor. Like if all she was doing was moving invoices back and forth as a
Mhm.
bookkeeper. Well, that's something that can be more easily replicated by AI. But AI is not going to instantly come into your leadership team and do all the financing strategy, the simulation, cash flow modeling, just all the various aspects that a financial leader will do to help manage risk on behalf of the company. But there are parts of her job that if she adopts AI, it will allow her more time to do the strategic things. And that's really got to be the main message. And as I shared with your group and many people, the biggest worry is not will you be replaced by AI? You should be worried about being replaced by someone that can use AI better than you.
Mhm.
So if you have your head in the sand and you're not out there at least trying and experimenting, and no one says you have to go out and buy 75 tools, but just start figuring out how to use this. Yeah, time's going to pass you by. The one constant is change, whether we like it or not. Besides death and taxes, the world is going to keep changing over. Business and commerce change, buyers and sellers change, marketplaces change, and as business leaders, we adapt or die.
Absolutely. I think of the solopreneurs out there that can use AI to do all sorts of things where they can't afford to ramp up resources. And I looked at the spreadsheet that you had provided. A lot of these are very low cost monthly subscription models that can fit into hardly or almost everybody's budget. It's
Yeah, I
really.
was very intentional about that because having been in Vistage myself for a long time, the vast majority of Vistage members do own small businesses. But even for those CEOs that are out there that have larger companies, that doesn't mean you want to go out and spend a fortune either. So if you can find really cost-effective tools that will make your team more productive, why wouldn't you want to start looking at those?
Right. Maybe you can take a moment, reflect back on all the speeches you're doing on AI and writing your book. Is there a story about AI that was kind of as you were presenting it, became a mind-blowing experience for one of the members, or even for yourself as you've been doing research?
I wouldn't say mind blowing, but I've changed groups because without getting into all the backstory, we had some merging of groups with my chair. But in my original group, this was back a little over a year ago when ChatGPT was just starting ramping up, and I think our speaker couldn't make it, so my chair asked if I could just kind of start showing some people around. So I had everybody get their laptops open, and many had not even created a ChatGPT account at that time. Um, and I had a couple CEOs in the room that were highly resistant, argumentative, and defensive, arms crossed, whatever. But I had them all create accounts and I started giving them real examples of how to create business plans, create sales and marketing materials. I had them research their own companies and create brand voices, and they were all doing this in 10 minutes. And so about an hour in, the one guy that was probably the most argumentative ended up being the biggest cheerleader, by the end of the hour because he saw how powerful it could be. And so there's just a lot of potential. It's easy to be afraid of the unknown. And as we get older, um, it gets harder because, we get established in our ways and our culture. I mean, look, I have to admit, just some of the stuff with TikTok and the phrases that Gen Z is using. My team actually did feature that in a video on TikTok because it was funny. They were trying to explain to me a script using all these buzzwords, and I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about? I've never heard of any of this." But it ended up being funny because they got me in my natural state, reacting to this. So look, we all deal with this, but AI is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So the sooner we can understand its potential and its capabilities, along with the risks and ramifications, we'll just be better business leaders because of it.
Well, let's talk about risks and ramifications for a moment. I mean, I didn't walk away from your presentation with any dreaded fear by any stretch, but what would one want to really wrap their brain around that could be a fear that is out there that you've seen?
Well, I think as a CEO, at least you're maybe not worried if AI is going to replace your people. You're probably in some ways curious to see if it can, because if you can
Right.
increase productivity and margin, why wouldn't you? I think for CEOs, it's more concerned about privacy, competition. What happens if some of our IP and the way that we do things gets in the hands of another my competitor down the street, and they see what happened with Samsung last year, and I think that might be a real concern. What if our customers' data or sensitive data, PII data, gets into AI? What if there's a hack? What if we start using more and more of this technology and we become exposed or vulnerable? I mean, these are things that I think that CEOs and leaders would think about, and those are real concerns. And frankly, this is all moving so fast. I don't think a lot of leaders are aware of all the changes that have happened in a positive way in
Mhm.
just in this year alone. I mean, I would say like this last year, everything was public. There wasn't any kind of secure Teams or enterprise edition that you could use with these large language models. And so anything that you put out there, unless you stripped it, made it vanilla, would get back into the public database. But those are the policies that we created in the beginning, and the companies we were working with last year. That was my instructions to them. Like, okay, so you get a transcript of a call before you put it into ChatGPT to summarize it. You need to go in and take out the company name and all identifying. Then you can load it up. Of course, now though, if you have a Teams version or enterprise version, you don't need to do that anymore because it's secure. But that's all. That's one example of a rapid change.
Mhm.
And as time goes on, ChatGPT is it's like a Jack Swiss Army knife. It does a little bit of everything, which is great. But as time goes on, more specific applications that are trained to do specific things are also good uses of AI because that AI is very much more narrowly focused and can do things in a much more methodical, deeper way. And that's why those applications that I share through my speeches are like, these are examples of these are tools for specific departmental purposes that will deliver specific outcomes. Could you do it with a large language model like ChatGPT? Yeah, but you spend a lot of time training it. And even then, it's not going to have the user interface and all the features all bundled in. So, um, like any other piece of software that we all own, different tools for different reasons.
Right. I want to give you an opportunity to talk about your book and some of your speaking engagements. Yeah, why don't you give us a little thumbnail about that and where you're going?
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I have two books that have been published. Mind you, if I went back 4 years ago, I never thought I would actually get into publishing as an author, although I've written a lot over the years. So, my first book I wrote during the pandemic, it's called F the Funnel, and it's really about taking a more customer-centric viewpoint about how we build and manage demand. And I argue why the traditional funnel, which we all use, is a very outdated method of forecasting because it's really all about us as a company. It has nothing to do with our customers at all. So the book really goes and it explains models and examples of how you can build a much more endearing relationship with your clients that is not funnel oriented. In my most recent book that came out last year, it's called AI Revenue Architect. And it's really about how to use AI to engineer revenue streams, for your organization. So, and again, being the primary business that my company's in is about helping drive more revenue. So we focus in on how does AI help you do that?
Very nice. I would imagine that that book becomes dated in a relatively short period of time. You're going to have to do a new edition
I
or
probably will. I actually working on a third book that has nothing to do with either. Well, it has a lot to do with marketing, but nothing to do with technology. It's called Marketing Religion.
Hmm,
And I'm trying to get that done by the end of the year. So it's a more of a personal project, something I've been working on for about 15 years. And I've just always been fascinated on how different religions over time use the marketing channels that are available to them to attract new followings, to reach their constituents, to drive community engagement. So I study 15 of the world's major religions over time and do a lot of analysis on how they use marketing. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that one to market.
fascinating. Fascinating. All right. Well, Jeff, we're starting to wind down here. If somebody wants to reach out to you, learn more about your books or your speaking engagements, or wants to interact with you or your company, how do they do that?
The books are both available on Amazon, so really easy to get. Website is pedowitzgroup.com, or hit me up on my email, jeff@pedowitzgroup.com, and I'm also on LinkedIn. And yeah, please reach out. Happy to chat.
Very good. Well, thanks again for sharing with all of us. I can be reached at scott.bunce@vistachair.com. And I look forward to interacting with anybody who's sharing this video. And again, thank you very much, Jeff, for all of your time. And I really appreciate what you've done for my Vistage group.
Oh, thank you, Scott. It's my pleasure.
All right.